it's fine. Seiko has kind of strange distribution habits. And I'm talking present day right now. This could all change tomorrow. I never know. But part of their strategy to do upmarket, as you were saying before, and as we were saying before, with their 6R15, 6R35 line, they kind of made the decision that anything that's a 6R15 or higher, so more or less at $600 and over, cannot be sold online through shopping cart technology with an add to cart button.
What?
Has to be call to order. So if you go to you go to any of the big Seiko guys, I'm not going to name them. You more than likely cannot buy these watches online. You have to either call them to order it, or you have to walk into a store. So because I don't have a physical store, shame on me. It's just a choice that I made. I am not permitted to carry them.
Wow, that's weird.
It's kind of weird. I understand it. I sat with the president of Seiko, and he explained it to me, and I was like, okay, whatever. I'm happy, dude. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'm happy for the opportunity that I have to sell what I have. I'm thrilled. When people think Seiko online, a lot of times they think of me. Makes me happy. They treat me well. I think I treat them well. I give them a lot of lip service. I give them a lot of YouTube time. So it kind of just works out well.
Cool.
So, Mark, you mentioned something pretty interesting. So you went back and you listened to some of our podcasts, so we appreciate that. And we did have a question with one of our guests about kinetic movement. So we were asked, like, do you guys know if it's still being produced? And we're like, we have no clue. But apparently you do, obviously. So
yeah. Well, I did a little research on it, and the USA hasn't had a kinetic watch in years. They stopped making it simply due to just issues with customers and them not getting charged up enough. So in the USA, you will not find it. In some markets, they might still do the Premier line, which the Premier line isn't even in the States. But yeah, they kind of, they nixed that. And interestingly enough, just as kind of almost like a parallel or a sidebar, I just mentioned this in the video, 2 videos ago that I did on new titanium Seiko that came out. They seem to be curtailing solar as well. That I think there's something deeper to it. I do think that there's something else behind it. Really, I can't really say much about it, but it's evidently absent. There's been no solar releases in like the last 6 months. Everything is quartz based, and a lot of the popular solar models, like the tank dress watches, the SUP 880, have gone to full on battery quartz. So I got curious to see what kind of happens there, because I love solar. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, I have 2 solar watches. So
it's interesting because I mean, Citizen built their whole basically business with the eco drive.
Big time. Big, and they just came out with that brand new movement a year and a half ago or so. Super duper thin, never needs a battery change, solar, blah 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 blah. And when we talked about Seiko before, I guess Seiko seems to be taking the high road with automatics, whereas Citizen USA really doesn't market, manufacture really any automatics. There's just a couple. Most Citizens in the country are solar. If you want the autos, you have to go gray market or overseas to get them.
I noticed that's why some people like family members, friends are like, what about what watch do you recommend? And I never say Citizen, and they always go, what about Citizen? I've heard about Citizen, but it's like, well, if you want a solar watch, but they don't really.
They happen to make great watches, and they are. I mean, at least a few years ago, they were the #1 watch producer in the world. There's nothing to believe that they probably still are not, because they obviously own a lot of brands. But yeah, I don't know. Just Citizen, I'm sorry, just doesn't light my fire.
I don't own any Citizens, and I've been hesitant. I've been looking at the Nighthawk just because it's kind of like
that's the only watch, that gets a pass. That one's actually pretty cool. Oh, and a Blue Angels if you like super complicated watches.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool too. Very cool.
All right. So, how long before launching the first Islander watch were you planning the Islander watch line?
Almost happened by, forced my hand, I guess, in a way. In 2018, I was at a jewelry show in Vegas, and I sat with a brand owner, someone, I won't mention who it is or what brand it was, but someone, I don't really sell their watches. I just kind of know the guy. And he had said to me, with your following on YouTube, on Instagram, I mean, that back then I wasn't even over 100,000 followers on YouTube. He's like, why don't you just build your own watch? That's what you should be doing. And I was like, I don't want to build my own